Get from around me, girl, you wearing out my space. Ain't gonna tell your ass again, better tear up out my face. I keep shooters, they be airing out the place. They get on your ass, boy, tear up out my face. Hell, body gear, you wear it's out of date. You stuck in the past, better tear up out my face. Wife a lawyer, I don't care about the case. Told you quit playing, need to tear up out my face. They never seen a Hebrew make them dance. Celebrities in the truth, y'all better think they can.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the 5WHFM, and that was the Deacon. I'm Jacob Amos, alongside my co-host Genesis Maccabees.
Welcome. We have a special guest for you today. It's none other than Umar Johnson.
Peace and love, fam.
Dr. Umar, let's get into it. Why should black people care about interracial relationships?
Black people should care about interracial relationships for three reasons. Number one, when we go outside of our community to select our mates, we undermine the importance of the traditional black family in the lives of black people, and in particular black children. If black boys don't see black men being committed to black women, they may be less inclined to do the same themselves. There can be no nation without first having a strong black family, and the traditional black family is under attack. And when we talk about interracial relationships in our community, we're overwhelmingly talking about black men. It is black men who marry outside of their race more than the men of every other race in this country put together as a percentage of their respective communities. 25% of all newlywed black men this past decade, were married outside of their race. 25%. And although we have seen an increase in black women dating outside of their race, it's only up to 12%. So interracial marriage in the black community is overwhelmingly a black male thing. How can we turn our backs on our women, which is a form of turning our backs on our community, and without question, it represents turning our backs on our children? Working in the schools, one of the big questions I always get from black girls, third graders, fourth graders, and fifth graders is, Dr. Umar, what's wrong with me? Why is it that so many black men choose to marry someone who does not look like their mother?
Why is it a betrayal if a black man dates outside of his race?
More likely to not get married at all. Only 1 out of every 4 black women in the United States will get married. So for a black man to marry out of his race and not say that he does not bear any responsibility for the fact that black women have such a difficult time finding a man who looks like them, who is willing to build a family with them, to say that it is not a form of betrayal on some level, I believe, is politically disingenuous. Black people, with the history we have in this country, coming from slavery, through Jim Crow, through Willie Lynch, all the way up to today, we need each other. And it's important to recognize that even when you date or marry outside of your race, the non-African that you're marrying, the white person, or be the person of another culture, but particularly white people, they are still just as racist as other white people. There's this notion that when you marry or date a white person, that particular white person was more liberal than the other white.
I would like to welcome the other guests in the studio, and our topic is skin bleaching. Is it self-hate or insecurity?
Welcome, Kim and Candice, to the panel.
So, Candice, is it self-hate or insecurity while you bleach your skin?
First of all, everybody that knows me know I have a tough exterior. They tell me I'm pretty, but I always get, you're pretty to be cute. You're a pretty girl to be. I mean, I'm sorry, you're a pretty girl, but to be dark. Why I gotta be pretty to be dark? Why I just can't be pretty? You know, why do I have to add that on? Being a child growing up, we wasn't, we didn't have a lot of money, so that added on. I was always teased. I was always picked at. And I didn't feel cute. My mom doesn't know I'm doing this.
What was the most hurtful thing you heard growing up as a dark-skinned person?
That I've heard. Oh, it's so many. I think it was mostly coming from like good friends of mine You know, we were out, and they invited me, and they said pretty much like, oh, all y'all pretty, y'all be straight, y'all didn't have no with you.
I'm speechless. That is unacceptable. Who would say something to you like that?
Guys said that when you were with pretty much saying like, you know, because all them light skin and I was only dark.
How was it growing up for you as a black woman?
Of course, being told that you're not cute and dark and black and all that stuff from your family, friends, and schoolmates, you're going to feel inferior. And this is what embodies a lot of black women's struggles in America. Like, we get dragged the most by black men and white men and all the other men. I guess what I would want is for at least the black men to accept us. Like, they go off and get these white girls and mixed girls, and I like my V's, light skin, long hair, and all that stuff, when dark skinned women have long hair. Hello, this is all my hair. So, and here's the thing. You guys are saying we have attitudes, but let's see. Let's go back for 400 years when we came over here and were kidnapped. We were just as jovial, and we still had the joy of the Lord. And what did we endure? We were kicked down, beaten, raped, impregnated by white men and, mixed, light skin men, all of that. However, we were not good enough to be their wives. We weren't the ones on the forefront. So we went through that for 400 years, right? Just for being black. Everything was you black, nappy headed B word, lay on his bed, and he impregnate you, all that kind of stuff. But you expect us to not have an attitude? Okay, so then years later, when we finally get a little bright, and then we get told, you light-skinned women, you can come on forward. But you dark-skinned, if you can't pass the paper bag test, then you get in the bag. And now we get this from our own people in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s, honey, because colorism was strong in colleges, sororities.
What you think, Dr. Umar, and you could jump in at any time.
One of the consensus opinions that seemed to come out of that conversation, attorney, from black women, was that they feel that black men may be more to blame than the white power structure for the light-skinned, dark-skinned divide between black women. And they said this was based on the fact that, based on what you just said, because so many black men will prefer light-skinned women and not even give the dark-skinned sisters an opportunity, it can cause unnecessary animosity between the skin tones within the queendom. And so they said until black men get off of this light-skinned supremacist kick where, beauty is automatically yellow, or automatically light brown and not dark brown or black, it's going to continue to drive a wedge between the women.
Okay, so I want to talk about colorism. And this bleaching that is getting very famous among our community. And is it the black man to be blamed for a black woman bleaching their skin? And is there anyone that agree with Dr. Umar that people should stay within their race?
Caribbean. In the Caribbean, as you know, they have a very sophisticated color hierarchy scheme. So in America, you're either black or you're white. Now, yeah, you may have been mulatto, but you were still black or white. In the Caribbean, you could be octoroon, you could be quadroon. There's about 8 to 12 different racial categories, which are only one drop of melanin away from each other. And although these different stratified racial groups are only one drop of melanin away from each other, they are like night and day in terms of the opportunities they can afford you. So when we look at skin bleaching in the Caribbean as well as in Africa, a lot of it is done economically for those who do it to have a better opportunity in life. So literally, if your skin is butter pecan instead of butter almond, you can never work at the front desk of the hotel. If your skin is coffee instead of peanut butter, you may never get to work at the car dealership. So when you go through the Caribbean islands, when you go throughout about Africa,
African countries, you clearly see how the hard labor is color-coded for the dark-skinned Africans and the customer service. Those who actually engage the tourists tends to be the lightest of the light.
Growing up, I've always heard that they are trying to look like us. But as far as I see, we're trying to look like them. We're the ones that live in the beauty supply store trying to get straight hair, long hair, blonde hair, etc. So what do you think, Dr. Umar?
Well, here's the difference on that point. White women and white men may love to emulate certain aspects of Black culture. So the women, they want the butt, they want the lips, they want the curves. White men, they want hip hop. They might want to be a rapper. They might want to get involved in that industry. They might want to hang out in the Black community, drive the cars with the rims, blast the gangster rap. But what we also know is when it comes time to fight against racism, they're nowhere to be found. And so we have to make sure we are clear in that although they may love Blackness socially, they do not ever want to be mistaken for a Black person.
My grandparents and my parents have told me not only once, like a lot of times, that it's in the Bible that you're not supposed to date outside your race.
I would like to thank all of our guests for being here today. And I would like to close with the scripture of the day, which is Deuteronomy 32:21. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanity, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nations. Okay, so what I see here is a people that has been hurt for over 400 years. And I think it's time to bring healing to our people. To our little sisters, we need to teach them to start loving every bit of melanin that they have, because it's our protection. In the Caribbean, you will see the ones that have the best jobs are the ones that have lighter skin or straighter hair. You could even see it in the government throughout the Caribbean. So I just want to close on that and teach us to love each other.
Thank you, Genesis. Is Dr. Umar right, or is he wrong? Is the young lady in the audience right, or is she wrong? Well, I got a precept I heard from the Israelites on the street, and it's Joshua 23, verse 12 and 13, and it reads, "Else if ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them and go in unto them, and they to you, know for certain that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God had given you. You be the judge." And that's all for our show today. DJ Abaka, take it away. We want to build up a nation with a good foundation. Big up Dr. Umar in the building. Good vibes, good music, all
Girl, I wanna show you what's up, what's up, what's up. Girl, I wanna show you what's up. So girl, I say I love the way you walk, love the way you talk. Woman, you're smart. First time I see you and me happy ask, what's your name, my guy? Woman, you got me out. Yes, black woman, I love the way you look.